Do Carpenter, and the always beautiful Mrs. Honeydew Carpenter is right here. We're up in our cabin up deep in the woods of North Idaho. Wow. This rocket stove is behind us. Really did save Christmas for us. It just saved the day. It saved everything. I can't believe how well it's performed. We have been frantically working on finishing the instructional manual and booklet on how to build one of these yourself. And I'm nearing just a few pages shy of a whole nother chapter done. And so we're actually nearing the end. Mrs. Honeydew and I have been working on some of the infrastructure stuff in the house that we need to spray the seal on the walls so that we can start putting the aircrete in it. Because that's something that we can do from the inside because we have a heat source to cure it. And so things are moving along. The main thing that I'm excited about, though, is the rocket mass heater book and getting it out. Sometimes my jaw is just on the ground and I can't even believe it, right?
Yeah.
It's like I was living in Idaho Falls in a rental home. We couldn't build on it. We couldn't change the house and put a rocket stove in it for ourselves. We couldn't live with it. It's just something that I invented. And so I ran it a few hours a day, 5 or 6 hours a day for a couple years out in my shipping container shop, but how would it perform in a full-size house, like 1,600 square feet? How would it do?
Now we know.
Now we know, and we picked...
Without insulation, we know.
Yeah, without insulation. I'm so freaking excited. I can't wait to get this house insulated and completely buttoned up. We worked on getting some more of the holes filled and stuff, and it's crazy. It just, every step we take, it's just like the temperature goes up 5 degrees inside the house in a room. It is. It's amazing. And we just realized how much, because heat rises, and there was a lot of holes around the roofing edge up top, and the heat was just going out, and it was sucking in different little holes in the bottom. And it's like, we've had 7 below zero weather out there. And I'm just, I can't believe how well this stove performs. And like last night, everybody was sleeping upstairs. I came down and slept on the couch with the stove, and you can just, you put a log in it and you just go lay down and you just hear it just brrr. It's just, you just hear that low rocket and it keeps going. And then this morning, I'm like, okay, I'm going to shove this fresh log in, and then I'm going to run up the road to where I can see our chimney and see how much smoke a fresh log makes. And there was none.
It's hard to tell that there's anything coming out of the chimney a lot of times.
Yeah, there's the secondary vortex and the secondary burn chamber has performed flawlessly. And
do you want to stick another log in for them?
If you want, yeah, let's do it.
Let's see. Hold on a second, let me see. Delia says, good morning. Tubular Guy 9 says, Happy New Year from the Lower Bahama. Happy New Year. Jason says, the fact that you are keeping warm without insulation is awesomeness. It is so awesome. I was so worried about it. I kept asking him, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? I want to freeze. I don't. Yeah. Yeah,
and it was crazy because guys, our boys, our daughter, we were cooped up like chickens in a 28-foot fifth wheel for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure some of you guys understand.
Yeah, and it got to the point where you know, the lines were freezing and everything, and I'm like, we've got to get moved into the house. I don't care if it's not buttoned up and it's not done yet. We've got to get moved in there. And so we did.
I need to replace my shed in the backyard, and with the termites back there, I have to keep watching your videos on metal studs with aircrete panels, right?
You know what? That's one way that I did it. I built that shop behind Grandpa's house for Grandpa, and the crazy thing about that was I mean, it's in Idaho Falls. We have a long winter there, you know, 4.5 months. It's a pretty long winter, but in the summer, you know, over there it'll get down in the 50s, you know, 58, 60 or whatever, but then it'll be triple digits, or you know, in the high 90s during the day. And everybody else who has just a regular shed, you know, you can't even go in them because the heat hits the roof and it's so hot. And the way, if you're going to build that shed, just be careful and watch the part about the roofing system, because I put a 3-inch gap between the roof and whatnot, and so when the sun hit that roof, it would just flew up and vent out away from it, and then the aircrete would take on that 50-degree temperature at night, and during the day, the 5 or 6 hours of really hot sunlight never made it through. It didn't even need air conditioning. It was crazy how good it worked.
It was amazing. So, Navajo Ben says, greetings from the Navajo Reservation. That's
awesome.
Amazing. Thank you. Greetings back. Hello. Jason said, or could I pull it off with ICF walls? So instead of the aircrete in the middle studs, could you pull it off with the ICF walls?
Pull off having the...
To replace my shed in the backyard with the termites back there.
Oh.
He was thinking of doing the aircrete, but could he pull off with ICF walls?
You know, I mean, we deal with a lot of voles and mice here, and so they will still chew those ICF walls and whatnot. Whether termites would do it or not, I don't know. I doubt it. I doubt they would try and eat that. They like the wood, so
yeah,
you may be able to pull it off with that.
Tubular guy 9 says, just face it, Darwin, you're a genius.
Oh, yeah.
Navajo. Jason says, yeah. When I lived in Idaho Falls, I arrived in November '92 during the first snow and didn't see the grass until May.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Isn't that exactly? The snow it snows, and then it snows, and then it snows.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? We're in the Clearwater River drainage. I mean, we're within miles of the North Fork, the Middle Fork, and the South Fork. In fact, our property overlooks the Middle Fork of the Clearwater River. And it's crazy. When the wind comes down from Canada, oh my gosh, a week ago it was 7 below zero. Okay? It turns off and it'll get in the 40s during the day and all the snow will melt away.
Right.
If you look at the live we did last week, was it last week where we showed him the chicken coop and whatnot? It was just a winter wonderland. And look out now, and most of the snow is melted away.
Yeah.
And so...
Tubular Guy 9 says, thumbs up, everybody. Yeah, you guys give us a thumbs up.
And so, one thing about this stove is that I want to tell you guys that I discovered because we've been living with it, is it's kind of self-regulating. Like, when it's below zero and it's cold outside, it rockets and flues a lot faster and creates a lot more BTUs. But then when it's warmer outside and it's 70 degrees inside, the air around the chimney and the whole system is way lighter and less dense and less heavy, and so it rockets a lot slower. And I've been playing with the damper a little bit, and like right now, I think let's show them the damper. It's like 33 or 34 degrees outside, and I have it dampered way down.
There we go.
And it still burns really slow. I don't know. What do we got going on? Let me find a log here. This is a pretty good sized log, guys. We let it burn down and get kind of cold where there was very little coals, and it'll just take off and start rocketing. But when it's super cold, it pulls way faster and just rockets right away. And then I don't know if I can, let me see if I can get a stick on fire here. And show you the suction of the air in the secondary burn. You see that smoke?
Do you want one of the little torch things?
No, this will work.
Can you guys see it like pull in there into the hole?
Yeah, I mean, make some sparks. You see that? Well, let me get it going. It's pulling the flame off my stick. Watch this, Mel. Go down lower. Watch. It's got a big flame on the stick there, and then I pull it out, and it just pulls the flame right off. I can't.
Here, let's do this. Will this work?
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Can you guys see that? It's just pulling it right in the air hole.
That stick's done. Let's just put it in there.
And then, as you guys can tell, Dar likes to play with fire.
Yeah, every man's man has a little pyro in him. At least I do.
All right. So this is the side view of the Baraka Mass heater. You guys see that? It's up off the ground a couple inches. Going up, still right up to the wall, up through this floor right there. Awesome. Here, let me put you back on here. Maybe. That didn't work out too good. There we go.
There you go. Okay. Do we have any more comments, babe?
Oh, I don't know. You want to see?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Navajo asks, can I use your aircrete cement for a driveway in the backyard? Dirt around here.
I would never. People ask me about pavers because there's somebody who did a paver project with aircrete, and me personally, I would never recommend that you use aircrete for a wear surface because it's so porous that it flakes off. And so, that being said, like, I'm going to run a coil through the top above the riser inside the downdraft shroud and run water through it. And I want to make a thermal mass by pouring a couple inches of aircrete, for the hearth and whatnot, and then running PEX pipe through it, all through it, and then forcing steam from the rocket stove through it all. But what I'm going to do is pour 1.5 inches of aircrete for insulation, and then put the PEX pipe down, and then put a hardened concrete surface on top of that. And that hardened concrete surface will weigh hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and it'll get warm while the stove is going, and then it'll stay warm way throughout the night.
So, no, Darwin does not recommend using it for a driveway.
No, not for a driveway or pavers for. Some people get the misconception that maybe I used aircrete for those pavers at Grandpa's shed and whatnot.
It was regular.
I did, and it was regular cement. We did color it and make it nice and pretty, but yeah, I didn't use that for that.
Okay, the feral cats we feed, along with the raccoons and the opossums, we no longer have moles or voles or rabbits. That's awesome. Antonio says hello from Tybee Inland in Georgia.
Awesome.
Iceland. Idaho Family Farm. I caught you live. Yeah, you did. Jason says, that is great. Low pressure vacuum area to pull like that. Yes.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but in my original design, I didn't put a glass door. We were able to acquire a 6-inch by 6-inch piece of tempered glass that can take up to, like, I think 1,600 degrees or something that it's rated for, which the front of my stove, because of the way I designed it, and the air goes down across it, the fresh air coming in, and then in the bottom, it never gets that hot. But it's kind of cool because at night, you can just open the door or whatever, and or there's this really glowing lights through the damper and whatnot, and it gives a kind of a, just when you're sitting on the couch and your feet are up and getting warmed by the stove, you can see the fire, and it's really cool. I thought about doing a remote thing. We took and with a 4K camera, and we filmed it burning and whatnot, and then I thought about putting that up on the wall, on a TV screen burning, or having a little remote camera eye that always looked at it so you could see it burning great big on the TV screen, and it would just give the feeling of it. But
Idaho Family Farm says, I just did a live show talking about your stove. Aw, that's so awesome. I hope it was all good stuff. Jason says, is the build plan for this stove on your store, or was it on a video?
Okay, that's a good question. We talked about that when we first started this live show. However, I want to talk about it some more. Mrs. Honeydew and I have been frantically sitting side by side working on finishing the book and the instructional plans and booklet for putting this stove together. And it will be up very soon. And all those people who pre-bought the plans will be getting the final chapters right away. And when I say right away, I mean within a week or two.
Steve says, hey guys, Steve from Helena here. How's it going? It's going awesome. We're hoping you're doing great too.
He's up there in Montana.
Yeah. Tubular Guy 9 says, whoa, with a bigger hole, you could hook a hose to it and clean the floor.
Right. Hey, kiddo, where's that baggie of...
I'm not sure where it got put. I set it there.
So, guys, I ran the stove...
I know where I put it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I'll go
Okay,
get it.
I ran the stove for 2 solid weeks. And when I say solid, I mean 24 hours a day. Okay? And then I let it burn completely out and almost get cold. I say almost, but... And then I scraped everything, all the ashes out for a 2-week period. And
this is during a cold spell.
And this is during the cold spell. And this is all the ashes that it made. And it's kind of crazy. You almost have to feel it. It's like all it leaves is this I mean, it doesn't even make your hands sooty or dirty or anything. It's just what's left after the wood is completely incinerated. I mean, you got to understand, in the back of the stove, it's burning between 2,500. 4 years ago, when I first started burning these, I had no way of knowing the exact temperature that it was burning in the stove. And the only way I was able to do it was take a little block of the refractory cement and put it in the back of the stove. Actually, I put it up in the vortex area, and I put pieces of welding rod on it. And I knew what each one melted at, you know. I mean, there was aluminum and copper and some brass. And then I had some specialty welding rods, and you know that it melts between a certain temperature. But the highest temperature one I had melted at like between 2375 and 2480 or something
That's
like
hot.
that. And it melted that. And so I knew it was burning at least that hot at times. And so, but now... 4 years later, I was able to acquire a infrared heat gun that goes clear up to 3,100 degrees. And so, doing a bunch of testing off-site with the stove last year, I was able to determine that it was burning at 2,871 degrees in the back. And I know it gets even hotter than that sometimes. But
So Karen says that fire is just your inner caveman coming out.
yeah, and I mean, that is what it makes. It's more like it feels like sand. It's just mineral deposit. This is like 2 weeks burning 24 hours a day. That's all it made. There's very little ashes. It's very clean. You know, it doesn't even get your hands dirty.
I know, that's amazing.
I know, it is.
All right, so Malbur says Happy New Year. Antonio says Happy New Year. Happy New Year, you guys. Tubular Guy 9 says, hi, Julia. Ah, that's so sweet. Antonio says, I'm on vacation. How goes the house building?
It's going.
More
You
and
know?
more done every day.
Every day.
Yep, every day.
They always say never move into your house before it's finished. We really, I mean, didn't have a choice. Winter came 6 weeks early. If we had had 6 more weeks, we'd be a lot further along. It'd probably be wrapped with Tyvek, and all the holes would have been plugged. It would have been a lot more comfortable when we moved in. But that being said, every time we go to do a portion of the house. Like yesterday, we were working on, filling in some holes and doing some stuff and prepping so that we could seal the walls and get some aircrete in them.
So it's clean this
And,
area. Move
yeah,
this,
we had to
everything
clean
out.
it and move everything out and then do that area. And I'm excited to get those videos out. But first, we want to get the stove completely done.
Yes.
One live show that I did do, I said, new aircrete riser saves Homestead. Our old riser that we had had for 3 years developed a pinhole in it, and it just blew out and melted out the side and put a big old hot spot on the side of our downdraft shroud. And so we had to make a new riser in less than optimal weather conditions.
Yes.
Had it been, in the 70s out or whatever, I could have easily just made a new aircrete one. However, I didn't really have that option, but I did have a bag of the refractory cement that I make the cores out of, and we got some not fine perlite, not the fine stuff like what I put in Julie's chimney, but the coarse perlite. It's like, and yeah, we just mixed it in with the refractory cement until it was just really kind of porous and whatnot. We didn't know if it was going to work or not, and then we poured it, and we kept it by a heater, just overnight, and then I fire cured it, and oh my gosh, the best riser ever. And so that's one of the changes to the book. So the product that comes out in the book is going to be way better than
Yes.
what it could have been. Because I want this stove to be something that will give years and years of service, and you don't have to switch out the riser every 2 or 3 years, And I want that riser to be golden. And given the fact that I know how the core performs with that refractory cement, I don't think making it porous with perlite, and guys, you gotta understand, perlite is a soil conditioner, and it just sucks the water in. It just sucks it in like really fast. And if you wet the perlite first, then it's already full of water, and then it creates little porous air gaps in there when whatever you're putting together with it cures out. If you leave it and you put it in dry, then it sucks the water out of the cement really fast, and it forms a little cement encasement around the perlite pearls or whatever, and it essentially does the same thing because the water that goes in there is filtered and the encasement's on the outside, but it kind of changes the dynamic of the cement.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go over how we did it for this riser, and it was kind of Melanie's idea. It was Melanie's idea because I tried to make an aircrete one and it collapsed and it failed because it was just too cold. I mean, it's like cold,
Yes.
And we didn't have a warm place to make it. And Melanie's like, well, you just do this and use the refractory cement and make a riser, and boy, it worked good.
Awesome. So Navajo Jr. says 10-4 on that. Thanks, Honeydew. Aw. Idaho Family Farm says hi. Tubular Guy 9. Malbar says Darwin is like me. He needs to use hand movements to talk. LOL. Yes, he does. Tony says Happy New Year, y'all. Give your kids a big hug. Can't wait to come and take a class. Tony, I can't wait either. We're trying to get stuff planned for that.
One thing that is just super exciting is, it's kind of crazy around here because in the fall, So you have spring, and it's a long spring, and it goes deep into summer. And then for about 6 weeks, it just gets really hot, and all the grass turns brown and everything. And in the prairies where we live, we're surrounded by forests, but we're kind of in a grassland prairie. And then in the fall, just like 6 weeks later, it starts getting a little precipitation and raining and whatnot, and then it gets green again before the snow comes, and the springs start flowing. And so our pond just, I made our pond, it's about 20 feet deep, and it was down, I don't know, what, 8, 9 feet?
We have a season of mud, though.
We do. But I developed a spring up above the pond, and that spring started flowing, and I have some pretty cool video of that. But it just started filling up. It's coming over the spillway. It's like an irrigation ditch coming down. We are currently working on some solar projects to get our solar electricity going and whatnot. And I cannot wait. It is because our creek, our seasonal creek, flows, 8, 9 months out of the year. I cannot wait to do a hydro project where I get, a nice little, because with just a small flow, like 5 liters a minute, you can create 500 watts of, electricity that'll go into your batteries and whatnot. And why I'm so excited about that is because it's 24/7. The creek flows at night, it flows during the day, and then the rest of the year, when it isn't flowing for 2 or 3 months, we have tons of sun. I mean, like every day, you have tons of sun because it's just that time of year. So in the winter, we want to use the hydropower, and then in the summer, we will just use solar. And I'm beyond excited about it.
Melinda says, hey, y'all, nice to see you. Navajo, Ben, says, hello, change your handle to the Honey Duo. Honeydew. What?
Well, the gentleman earlier, I was answering his question, he mentioned classes and whatnot.
Oh, I thought you went down a rabbit hole.
I did, but I'm excited about doing classes because I invented a retaining wall system for making underground root cellars and obviously animal enclosures and everything else. We'll have that, some hydropower projects, some solar projects, the aircrete projects, and of course the rocket stove. I think by next winter we'll be set up to the point where we can even do some wintertime courses, and eventually, anyways.
Idaho Family Farm says, it reminds me of dry clay dirt texture from my stove. She's talking about the
yeah, it's
dry clay dirt
the
texture.
The ashes.
The ashes. That's what she
Yeah.
says it reminds her of. That's awesome, Julie. Thank you. Navajo says aircrete would make good insulation, like instead of fiberglass insulation. Yes,
That's
exactly
what
and
we're using it for.
That's one reason we don't have insulation up yet, is because that's what we're actually going to use for our insulation is aircrete.
Right.
Which it takes a little bit more time, but in the long run, you don't have to worry about it burning. You don't have to worry about the mice getting into it. Bugs. You don't have to worry about any of that. And so it might be a little bit longer getting it in, but I think it'll be way more beneficial.
It will, and pretty much what happens with the traditional way of building things is they put up studs, they put OSB on the outside, they put sheetrock on the inside as some type of a firewall or whatnot. But if fire ever gets inside your wall, it basically has a little chimney, and each one of those between the studs, we had an article that we were reading because we had a few house fires in the area, and the fire marshal put it out, and he said with these new building materials and all the glues and whatnot, and the fact that you have all these little individual chimneys going up. You can't even put them out. It's crazy. And so I just wanted to do something different and say, okay, instead of laying down these wall panels and filling them up and then standing them, I wanted to fill them in place, just simply because there's millions of people out there with an unfinished basement, or millions of people with a shed that they don't necessarily want to tear down and replace and do the exact system that I did with the wall panels, but they would love to mitigate some of the termite or mice living in the walls, and fill the walls with aircrete and make them a lot more fireproof. And basically we're creating a big firewall everywhere, doing it that way.
Happy New Year, Julie says. She also says, do you need to build rocket stoves like double hole vessels?
Do you need to build rocket stove like double hole? Oh, yeah. Okay, I see what he's talking about.
Good.
Yeah,
I
you
don't.
do. Because that's what makes the whole thing work, guys, is you have a really heavy, dense core of refractory cement. This is the stuff that the industrial companies use to build kilns with and whatnot for melting steel and for the steel industry. This used to build the core out of. And it's so dense and so heavy. It's denser than soapstone. It breaks at 16,300 psi. You know, so that is a dense cement. And its flexural strength, meaning its expansion and contraction at like 3,000 to 4,000 degrees, is almost nothing. It's like 0.0001 expansion and contraction. And so it performs very well. However, to get those high temperatures, to create basically an incinerator that gives off no, the air, what comes out is so clean. It won't even register. They have my brother's a mechanic, and he was certified to do the emissions testings on cars and stick the thing in the tailpipe and run them, and it measures the carbon and whatnot. It won't even register on the exhaust of this stove because it burns so clean. And to get that hot incineration, you have to have the aircrete insulating around your firebox, and then some type of other containment apparatus around that. Now, could the containment apparatus be another inefficient old stove or whatnot, and you just fit the core in it and then pour the aircrete around it? Yeah, I'm going to do some projects like that, show people how they can take their existing stove with the core and do that. And the reason I want to do that, guys, is so that when the book comes out, we can sell individual chapters for less money on Etsy and make it accessible to a broader amount of people. And if all they need is the chapter on how to build the core, and then they want to follow my video tutorial or whatever and stick it in an existing wood stove and convert a system, then they can do that. But so anyways, we have a lot of ideas flowing in that direction.
Tubular Guy 9 says, I watch videos on YouTube about these little hydropower units that you can order. Nice.
Yeah.
Navajo Ben says, on like 2 years ago, I've been watching you since Florida. That's awesome. Josh Smith says, double hole, like an inner chamber and an outer chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look at this. It's like raging on the inside right now, but look.
Oh, let me move it down so they can see.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm touching the sheet metal on the outside of the burn chamber, but there's a 2-inch layer of aircrete between it. And so it holds the energy in where you want it. So, I mean, guys, energy, whether it be solar or hydro energy, it's all around us. And I use aircrete in the rocket stove as an energy containment system to put the energy, the heat energy, and because heat is what moves the air where I want it to be. And it's all based on a mathematical calculation that I kind of did myself.
Navajo Ben says, I had ordered the gun and orange router drill, but when they shipped it from Hawaii, EM sent an extra piece. I called them to mention it, and they had it mailed back.
Huh.
Oh, that's crazy. Awesome. All right, you guys, we are done.
Yeah.
So, you guys, Happy New Year. We love you guys, and thank you for everything.
Yeah. Can I show them what I got for Christmas? I got a new drill for mixing aircrete.
I guess, if you hurry, because I already said goodbye. Yep, he's excited. I hope you can tell. Any more questions? Oh, there it is.
This thing is a monster. Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
That's awesome.
That was from a viewer.
Yep.
So thank you very, very much. All right, you guys. Happy New Year and have a great day.